45 cut. These are the meaningless ramblings of a Scottish we-done whore and a pissy ex-video store clerk. Their ongoing mission is to set right the movie wrongs. They're gonna need a bigger podcast.
So hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 365 Flicks podcast, another brand new episode. It's another sort of catching up with. We did the one with Tom Payton a couple of weeks back, which is going great guns, and thanks to everybody who's been listening to that. It's doing really well. It was awesome to catch up with Tom again, especially in these tried and tested times. It's a bit of a strange time out there, as I'm pretty sure everybody knows, obviously. So I decided to get another guest on. It was just coincidental, happenstance really, that a movie is about to be released that we have been promoting for a short while now. We've had this guest on a few times. He's spoken about this movie a couple of times. The movie in question is called The Host. It stars Mike Beckingham, Dougie Poynter, Mariam Hassouni, Derek Jacobi or British royalty basically when it comes to acting. It's been on its way out for some time now. It used to be called, or the working title was, Amsterdam Secrets, which is how you've probably heard us mention it before. Now it's called The Host, and it is dropping on all good streaming sites, your Amazon Primes, your iTunes, your Apple Play or Apple TV or whatever they call that, Apple Movies. It's going to be on all those different streaming platforms as of the 17th of April. I have been lucky enough to see the movie. It's a cracking little thriller. It's a good little tip of the cap or nod to one Alfred Hitchcock. It's a nice little noir thriller, if you will. But first of all, let me just, I am Kevin Halden, the pissy ex-video store clerk, and I don't have Chris with me today because this interview just it came around. Chris is working from home currently. I am furloughed. I think that just basically means you have a job but you don't have a job, and we don't know what's going to happen at the end of all this. But I am on furlough right now, so I guess I have a little bit more time to do stuff like this. Chris was going to be jumping on the episode and chatting with Mike with me, but he had some work stuff to take care of, and so he got waylaid on that. And so I just jumped on with Mike. It was a good chat. It was a good chat because he's very much on his way. He's on his way. They still call him an up and comer. They still do, but I don't necessarily think he's an up and comer now. I think he's pretty much making his bones now. He's a fantastic young actor, made his own way in the acting game, and it's not been easy for him, but he's absolutely smashed out of the park with movies like Redwood, Black Site. He's going to be in an upcoming movie towards the end of the year, G-Lock, another like a sci-fi adventure type thing. He's got Waltzing with Brando, which is going to be... he is the leading man alongside Billy Zane, who's playing Brando. That's going to be super interesting to see that movie. So, he's got a lot on his plate. He's got a lot going on. But for now, he came on. We talked about everything that's going on in the world to start off with, obviously, because it's hard not to. I mean, let's be honest, it's affecting the movie industry. It's affecting his industry quite a lot. So we kind of had to address it and talk about it and see how he's getting on right now and how it's affecting him. He seems to be getting on really well, so I'm really happy about that. And then we get into The Host, and we talk about The Host and the fact that he's starring alongside Dougie Poynter of McFly fame, which is awesome. And then we talk a little bit about what's next for the man. So I'm not going to talk much longer. All I'm going to say is that you can find this podcast. Obviously, if you're listening right now, you have found this podcast, but you can find it on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn. You can find it on all those different apps, Spotify. We're on a lot of amazing networks. Tangent Bound network, which is still going strong. Danger Entertainment Network, which I believe may be on its way out, but I'm sure we'll all stick together and we'll just keep each other going and keep pimping. A lot of the podcasts that promos that you hear on this show are directly from that network. We're on an amazing website, our British home, which is nerdly.co.uk, looked after over there by Phil Wheat. It's a fantastic website to be on. We really love being part of that, and I personally take a great interest in speaking with Phil and just, cooking up some ideas. You can also check us out on our website, which is the 365flixpod.com. On there, you'll find all my articles that I review shows and TV shows, movies, mostly movies. But you'll also find these episodes. You will also find right now I am ploughing through the Romford Film Festival slate, because they got us on board as sort of an unofficial official partnership right now. It's sort of nothing's set in stone yet. We're building a relationship, and hopefully that's going to go from strength to strength. But this year I'm going to be watching a lot of movies that have been submitted to that festival, and I've been asked to sort of watch and review them and give them a rating and judge a few different things. So that's been pretty cool. So I'm doing that, so you'll be able to find a lot of them on there. Some really, really good content in that festival. In fact, I'm super pleased with what I'm seeing. And in fact, there's going to be an episode incoming on this podcast with a director of a couple of shorts at the festival, so watch out for that one. That's going to be cool. But right now, this is Mike. This is Mike Beckingham. We get on, we have a bit of crack, and we talk about The Host, which again, 17th of April, you can pre-order that now on iTunes, or you can wait till it comes out on all your demand sites, like your Amazon Prime, your Apple Play, all that good stuff. You can find it there. So, let's get into this. The interview is already in progress. Just want to say again, thanks to Mike. It was awesome.
We'll get you back to your regularly scheduled podcast in just a minute. But we wanted to introduce ourselves. I'm Jason.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Blake on this highly produced advertisement.
That's right. It's the History of Bad Ideas, a.k.a. Hobie. You can find us on Twitter at Bad Ideas Podcast and on Facebook at the History of Bad Ideas. But if you like a podcast roundtable with 3 to 5 guests, usually every week, depending on sick leave, talking about all things geek, including movies,
TV.
I ain't getting paid for this shit.
Blake bitching about something and ranting, and comic books and anything else that we can think of. We have a top 5 list every week, along with a box office news, and somehow we have listeners, so they send us some feedback we answer every week. You can find us on iTunes,
Stitcher,
Facebook,
Spotify,
and any good podcast app, because if you can't find us on that podcast app, it's not a good podcast app.
Damn straight. Roger says goodbye.
Goodbye.
But we'll start off with, so I am very, very happy and excited to have a familiar voice on the podcast tonight. Mr. Mike Beckingham has come back on the show. He still takes our calls, people. He still takes our calls.
Absolutely, of course.
You may remember him from Tom Payton projects like Redwood, Black Site. We've had him on a few times now, but he's here to talk about an interesting project that I believe we called you on the set of this movie, didn't we?
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
yes, you did.
It was to talk about Black Site, but you were on the set of then it was called Amsterdam Secrets.
That's right.
Now it's called The Host. It's getting ready to come out, or it's already out?
It's sort of like a staggered release. So I think in America it's out, but over here it's April 17th.
Nice one. So, as you just heard, that is Mike Beckingham right there, the actor that is, the man that is. How are you doing, Mike?
All right, mate. Yeah, not too bad. I mean, we just had a little chat off air, and
yeah, we did,
about obviously the circumstances that we've all been kind of thrust upon into, sort of just trying to stay safe, trying to stay, within the means of my place, and trying to be sensible and trying to get through this like everybody.
Well, actually, let's start there a little bit, because obviously everybody will know that the movie industry on the whole, like independent movie, big budget movies, cinema releases, DVD releases, well, streaming's doing pretty well off the back of it. But it is affecting the business that you're in, the industry that you're in, quite badly right now. So how's it affecting yourself, kind of thing?
Well, it's kind of, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think, my industry as well as everybody's industry, I think, is being affected.
Yeah.
And, no one industry is more important than another. But to speak about it on a personal level, not a huge amount has changed for me, because a lot of the time in between projects, I'm at home, on my own a lot of the time anyway. So I'm very fortunate in that regard, for it to not affect me too greatly. I miss auditioning. I miss that whole being on set, magical feeling. But kind of thinking to myself that it will be even more special when we get through it. So having that at the back of my head and knowing that they were doing the right thing by not doing anything helps.
Yeah.
And actually, in your head when you're sat at home and you're kind of thinking, I actually can't do anything. It's easier to come to terms with, I think.
Yeah, that's the mad thing when they keep putting out there, do the right thing by doing nothing. Like it's almost like I think we're both quite geeky and quite nerdy, and we like our comic books and our games and whatnot. So it's almost like a dream come true for us.
in a weird roundabout way, like us geeks have, as it's not affected our hobbies or anything.
Not at all.
And also it's good because people are in watching TV shows and stuff that and spending more time, appreciating TV and streaming. Yeah. And how lucky are we to have streaming right now?
God, yeah.
And so that's also a good thing. That thankfully there's still that element of escapism available to people. And as it's on top of the fact that, as you say, we both agree that actually we've probably now come together more than we ever have done. Yeah. As we spoke about, and thankfully it hasn't driven us apart. It's perhaps driving us or pushing us together as a nation, as family members. I said to you that now every Sunday I have a little house party with my family, which I wouldn't have done before.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful. I get to see them weekly now, and obviously, as we spoke about, there is a lot of tragedy happening, which is the really hard part. But on a positive note, it's I'm trying to find the positives, and one of them is that I feel that we are coming together more, and it's great to be able to offer that escapism within our industry.
And how have you noticed as well? I know I've noticed this quite a lot, and I've mentioned it to a couple of people, and they've sort of kind of sort of agreed. Facebook and Twitter right now is nowhere near as toxic as it was 5-6 months ago.
It's not actually, and you're totally right. I'm seeing so much more positivity coming from people that are being so creative, that aren't in the industry, but they're doing stuff. I'm seeing people run marathons or half marathons in their back garden, and I'm seeing, people that aren't in the industry do this thing called TikTok and, develop, and you're like, blimey, I didn't even know they were, I thought they were introvert, and now look at them.
I know.
And I think it's wonderful. I think it's so lovely. I think the media have a lot of responsibility right now, which I'm not sure that they're doing in so much as they're causing a lot of anxiety. And on that level, the platform of social media, I think, is not being used correctly. I think that we should continue to spread accurate news and not, because a lot of people, struggle with that invisible illness of mental health. And when you're constantly being fed very scary news about the situation, for a lot of people, it's actually become worse, and that shouldn't happen. We should be spreading accurate news. So I think, as we always know, social media is a double-edged sword, and so yeah, I do agree with you. I see a lot more positivity than negativity, but there's still that element of responsibility I still don't think is being adhered to, and I feel that the element of very serious, mental illness has been exacerbated in this instance because people feel trapped, and we need to ensure that we're supporting them as well.
I don't really like to pull back the curtain a little bit on episodes and stuff like that, but I can 100% personally attest to what you're saying. I suffer quite mildly from a little bit of mental depression. and mental illness and stuff like that. I'm going through treatment and all that. I'm doing like the sessions and everything, and luckily I've been able to do it over the phone with her, so that's been fantastic. You know, we can keep in touch that way. But you're right, because I spoke to you on Facebook chat a few days ago. Basically, like, the anxiety's getting high and everything like that, and I can't stop watching the news. I don't want to watch the news, but I can't stop watching the news. And I can totally agree, and I can understand where you're coming from when you say that, and we do need to use it in a more correct way, definitely. But yeah. Sorry, I don't really like to go down that road on episodes.
I think it's you know, I've obviously been subject, you know, very closely to mental mental health.
Course, yes.
As you know, as people perhaps will know after this, or do already know about, you know, my connection with mental health, and I just feel that certainly, like you just talking about it then is wonderful, man. It's like, you know, it is the hardest thing to do, is to just talk about it. People just say, just talk. And it's like, well, it's not easy, really that easy. But that's in a normal situation. In a situation where you feel that that you're not even allowed out the door.
Yeah.
And then it's like the media constantly just push more and more news up against the door to make it even harder for you to go outside. It's like we also shouldn't ignore that. We also need to push back on that and say, look, there are people out there that are suffering in a normal circumstance, let alone when the whole kind of world feels as if it's shut down. And I do feel that there should be more done in regards to that, for sure. And I just think, just hearing you just talk about it then, just briefly, and the fact that you're reaching out to people and using our technology now that we have access to still be able to have those sessions is great, man. It shows strength. That doesn't show weakness. That shows strength.
It was a funny
Massively.
It was a funny one, because my appointment was coming up and all that, and I started well, she's just gonna have to cancel. It's, you know, that is the way it's gonna have to be. I can't go down there. And she kind of phoned me, and she was like, "Well, no, we can do it over the phone." She's like, "You know, I've got the studio outside, so I could come out here and sit out here by myself." So yeah, man, it was something I didn't really think about when it all kicked off. No, but I'm so glad that it's there, and you know, I'm like yourself as well. I've got 3 girls, I've got the wife, so you know, I can do family things as well. We're doing the board games every night. We're watching movies every day. It's been a nice way to connect that way. It has been,
for sure.
And that's kind of just how I'm getting through it. And then every now and then I check the news and I go, "Oh, for Christ's sake!"
but you're not alone, man. Like, I've seen some of my friends who haven't suffered from mental, you know, health, have messaged me, you know, saying, "Jesus, this is like," just having a moment where it's just like shit. It just hits them, and I'm like, wow, this is really affecting all of us, you know, on levels that we never knew we could be affected. And I feel like, you know, reaching out and talking, if you can, is the most important thing. And you're doing that, and I'm sure others are too. Or just take yourself away from that environment of the news and the media, because they do a lot of the time want to cause that anxiety, not really knowing the knock-on effect, you know. But I feel that hopefully that we'll come out of this stronger. And when I say we, I mean, you know, as a whole, but also, you know, people that will come out of this after getting through it and go, Jesus, I got through that. I was stuck in my house for fucking 8 weeks or whatever, and I got through it. I'm stronger than I think I am or knew I was, and that's a positive for me. And I hope really that happens, you know.
I think it's going to show a lot on the other side. Hopefully, anyway. It's definitely my hope for it, because I think, like you said before, when the bars do reopen, when the clubs do reopen, the cinemas reopen, the youth clubs, whatever, all these different places, the football stadiums, because Jesus, I think everybody's missing sport.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Like I started playing football at the start of last year, just like for a seniors team. It's just a hobby. It was to do with getting my head right, kind of thing. Just start playing football again with a bunch of lads, get that social aspect going again. I never realised how much I loved playing football for that team until they told me I can't play football for that team.
There you go.
It is mad. And we've all got like a big group chat going. There's about 30, 40 of us in this group chat. and it's constantly sending each other videos, do the toilet roll challenge, do this challenge, do that challenge, the bins in the garden, we're all doing it. And I'm just sitting there, and I message the guy who kind of manages the whole thing and keeps it all going. I'm like, you know what, mate? I didn't realise how much I loved playing football.
Yeah. I mean, and also these little challenges and stuff, people might laugh at them and stuff, but actually they're more than that.
Oh, it's way more than that.
They're more than that. And I feel that is also important. I know I owe so much to football. I mean, I've turned to golf now. Golf is my thing, but I played football for 25 years and it helped with so much. It helped with being part of a team, being part of a group. It built my personality. It makes you being in a football changing room or football WhatsApp group and the amount of ribbon you get, you realise that actually, all that sort of stuff builds your character. And I owe so much to football in terms of my strength and personality and sport as a whole. And I totally agree, man. Like, it's way more than just kicking a ball around or hitting a ball with a club. It's way more than that. And yeah, I'm totally with you.
I do love it, but for me, and I've said this to my wife quite a few times, I love playing the football and I love being on the pitch. And, if you score the odd goal, amazing, that's top banana. But it's on the way home and we all jump into a pub and we're all in the corner of a pub. You might get a little bit rowdy and a little bit unruly, but you're all sat in the corner talking about the game. The game normally lasts about 5-10 minutes of the chat, and then it becomes everything else that's happening. And it's just like, this is what I've been missing all this time. You just don't stop smiling the whole time. You don't, and then you come home and you tell your wife about the game, and you're like, but the pub afterwards was amazing.
Yeah. And it had nothing to do with the booze. It was to do with the camaraderie.
No, it's, and I think that's what we're all missing it. Everybody's missing it. But but
on a positive, we are finding other platforms right now to kind of, you can never beat being in a like in my industry, self-tapes are wonderful because it gives us a great platform to be seen, but you can never really beat being in the room with a casting director. You can never really beat being in a room with somebody. So, but there's still avenues out there. There's still platforms out there for you to get at least a small hit of that important sort of interaction. And I'm sure you read your WhatsApp messages after not looking at your phone for an hour, and you just smile the whole way down because you just know what you do, what's happening, and it's so important, mate. And I'm glad that you're doing it.
Oh, we're going to come through it. We're all going to come through it. We're all going to be all the better. And then your career will be flourishing once we get on the other side of this. You'll be going up for plenty of zombie movies, and everybody's going to want to make an infection movie. So just look out for them. When World War Z2 comes round, get yourself in there.
Yeah, I'll see if Brad's not available. I'll see what I can do. I'll try and put a good word in.
So that is everything on the whole right now. That's kind of what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
We didn't want to talk overly too much about that, but at the end of the day, it's very much what's on people's mind, and
it's important. Yeah, it's important that we've are able to. A lot of people are sat at home and perhaps don't talk enough about it. It's okay. It's like, I think it's absolutely fine because it is right there. It's happening to all of us. It's a level playing field for all of us, and we should all talk about it whenever we need to.
And I'm not going to lie to you, mate. Cards on the table. It's doing wonders for podcasts.
Is it?
I mean, I don't want to sound too selfish, but I don't often look at numbers or figures or anything like that on our podcast anymore, because it kind of got to that stage where I felt like I didn't need to look anymore. It was comfortable.
Made it.
It was ticking over.
Kev, you'd made it. And when you came on set that time and you were demanding those gummy bears.
That was it. That was it, mate. That was it.
And you had the Podcast King on your T-shirt, remember? I remember all that.
It was when she brought the red ones over. I was not happy.
Well, you kicked off. You told her to get out.
But like I said, over the last couple of days, I went to upload a new episode, went on, and I looked at it and I was like, Jesus, this whole thing's really kind of like people are going back and they're looking at our archives now, and they're going through old episodes, and people are finding us again, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, that's awesome to hear.
And of course, guys like yourself have got nothing else to do, so I can just badger you guys.
You're more than welcome. That's fine.
But yeah, so the host, formerly known as Amsterdam Secrets, as I said, we got to speak to you on the set. Obviously, we gave you a cheeky little phone call, and thanks again for taking that call when you were on set. Pleasure, because that was awesome. And you kind of dropped in, one of your co-stars was sat beside you, and it didn't actually click until about a week later when I was looking at the IMDb, and I was like, shit, I missed a trick there. I think you said one Dougie Poynter was sat beside you.
Yes,
and that was upsetting. I should have really told you to put him on the phone.
he's a bit of a legend in the old music industry, is Dougie.
Oh, hell yeah.
And we had not met prior to filming. You know, Jack had told me that he had been cast as my brother, but we really bonded over Dumb and Dumber.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah. There was a real mutual kind of love for Dumb and Dumber, to the point where one night we were in our hotel, in our dressing gowns, watching Dumb and Dumber as they do in that sort of Taco Bell commercial. But we weren't blowing our nose with money. We were just watching it, and it was great, man. Yeah, we really connected. He's such a cool dude, and I'm chuffed that he took himself outside his comfort zone and gave it a go.
Yeah, man, it was an interesting one to see when they'd cast him, because sometimes you think to yourself, the whole singer going into, or band member going into acting, you're curious. You're always curious, and we'll get to it in a second. But I thought he held his own, so we'll get there in a second. But yeah. So talking about the hotels and things like that you stayed in, I saw on Instagram and Facebook you were posting everywhere that you were living the good life, and finally made it. No more caravan sites for me, kind of thing. And
we were very well looked after.
Well, this was what I wanted to talk about a little bit, because obviously we know you more so, people who have listened to the podcast before, is sort of like independent work. And from what I could see was like, this movie wasn't a massive movie, but it was a bit of a step up from what you'd done previously. So, first of all, I was wanting to know, how did you end up in Amsterdam Secrets, I was going to call it. How did you end up in the host? How did that come about for you? And was there much of a leap for you as an actor, sort of going into sort of a bigger production, or were you up for the task?
It was a bigger production in terms of budget, for sure. And it came about actually really kind of serendipitously. It was very organic, and I just worked on a Tom Payer movie, and a friend of mine, Ashley, who was an on-set photographer at the time, who I know is a good friend, who I was on my way back to Gloucestershire, and I was on the train, and she messaged me to say, Mike, can you pick up your phone in a couple of hours, because I've got a producer that wants to talk to you.
Nice.
And I was like, okay. And I said, of course. And I then got an email from Zach, the producer, to say, look, here's the script, can you have a read of it? And I said, yeah, of course. And I only had like an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours, and I ended up in Oxford after that. Was where I was changing trains, and then I went to a pub called the Eagle and Child.
Nice.
Which is quite well known, from where J.R.R. Tolkien kind of created the idea of Lord of the Rings. And I've been to that pub before, and I love it, and it's very old English and very me, and sort of was sat there, and the phone went, and it was Zach, and he just came on the phone, and he was just like so enthusiastic about this project. I liked the script, but the way he spoke about it was amazing, and he had seen Ashley basically had put me forward and said, look, I know this guy who would suit the lead perfectly, and I think you should have a look at him. And so it was really thanks to Ash that kind of came about, and then we chatted, and that was it. It was like we were on the same wavelength, and he wanted me in terms of for Robert, and we managed to work it out.
Nice, man, nice. And what did you feel like this was a huge leap in work for you, or was it just sort of like on to the next one for you?
Yeah, I was ready. I was prepared. I was more excited than anything. I was ready. I was ready to go on to, I knew there was a bigger budget on this and stuff. But no, it was made wonderful by all of the people that were involved in the film. But yeah, on a personal level, I wasn't intimidated. I was ready. It felt right.
Good man. As I knew you would be, because you're ever the professional. So it has a little bit of a high caliber cast as well. It's one of these casts that, and I think I wrote in a little bit of a cheeky review that I did that you may not recognise the name straight away, but you're going to know the face. It's a lot of guys in there that as soon as I saw them, I was like, yep. What were they in? So was it a case of you've always, I mean, this might be a little bit thingy for me to say, but you've always kind of been the upfront leading man kind of thing, like looking at the people around you, like Mike's got it in spades here. Did you feel like you had to up your game at all with these guys and some of these names that were dropping in? I mean, Derek Jacobi for a start, Jesus Christ. A total English legend right there.
Oh my goodness. For sure, man. Like, yeah, I knew that the cast members were established. Certainly, some of them very established, and so yeah, that was obviously in the back of my mind. But again, I'd prepared myself for this, and had been working hard towards this as a film, or certainly as a next step. And I mean, let's not kid around the bush. When I was in makeup and Derek walked in, I was like, holy man, I had to take that deep breath and be like, okay, right. Hi, Derek. I might have played Robert. And it worked out really well. He was lovely, very, very professional. But yeah, for sure. I mean, Marianne, who plays Vera, is an Emmy award-winning actress. Yeah. So, but that's where you want to be. That's where you want to be. So I was, I was prepared.
Oh, definitely. It's something that I've said to a couple of other people that you've worked with. Like, I've been watching their careers go, and every time they've made that next step, not only have they got better, but they've also proven themselves. And it was something that I knew going into watching The Host. I was like, well, if there's one thing I know, Mike's going to be stellar. So that's covered.
That's very sweet.
Because you always up your game, you always get better, and that's just, it's your trajectory, and that's kind of what you're after.
It's kind of, that. Thank you. You just kind of work hard and hope that the opportunity comes around, and when the opportunity does come around, then you can try and take it. And it's not just you though; it's everything around you. Yeah. It's as much as you. Obviously, you've got to get your stuff in order. You work with a wonderful cast and crew who, when you're in scenes with them, you look after each other, and the scenes are built in a way, like the cellar, for example. The props department built the identical cellar in London that we had in Amsterdam, and so as an actor to go into a cellar that looks identical, you really don't have to imagine a lot, Yeah. So it's all these sort of it's a collaboration that aids you to make you put on a performance that hopefully resonates and hopefully makes people proud. So yeah, there's an element of certainty to of you as an individual, but it's certainly testament to everybody around you as well.
Oh, definitely. So I do have a cheeky little bit about the whole cellar thing a little bit later, which we'll not get into spoilers to, but I do have a couple of questions to ask there. But first of all, without getting into spoiler territory, because obviously we want people to check this film out, can you give us a quick elevator pitch / synopsis on the movie?
So it's a horror thriller, which is tipping the cap to the one and only. I'm sure you might have heard of him. He's done a couple of films, but Alfred Hitchcock. So it's kind of what we wanted to do is we didn't want to try and emulate what he had done, because that would be ridiculous. But it was just to bring a story up to date that is well known, and just to put our own little unique twist on it, really. And there's a lot of parties involved. There's a lot of sort of backwards and throw in and different. Perhaps the film goes somewhere where you don't think it will do, or maybe it doesn't. But there was a lot of that we wanted to include, and hopefully we have done. So it's kind of a horror thriller with a tip of the cap to a classic.
And of course you are leading man Robert Atkinson, I believe he was called.
That's right, yeah. Oh, Bobby Atkinson, yeah.
And another very laid character for Mike Beckingham. Another very, very complex kind of guy, but sort of. I quite liked the juxtaposition to this character between Josh that you played in Redwood, who Josh is sort of that nice guy that sort of ends up being, whatever. We'll not spoil Redwood, And then you've got Robert, who maybe not so nice, not so much of a nice guy, but you kind of feel for him.
Yeah, I think actually, for me, it would probably flip that. I'd say that Josh was probably not the nice guy, and Rob was somebody I wanted to kind of humanise the whole film around. I wanted people to kind of relate to him, because with Rob, it's like, just because you make a bad decision, it doesn't make you a bad person.
Yeah.
You can be a good person and make a bad decision with the best intentions.
Mm.
And I feel that's Rob, and I wanted to just make him relatable to people. We've all been in a situation where perhaps we've thought about maybe just doing the same thing as we've always done. And then one time you decide, actually, no, I'm going to try and do something different. And whether it works out or not, and what comes of it, it doesn't define you.
No.
And that's kind of with Rob. With Josh was different because I feel he was, a lot of what he did was predetermined.
Yeah.
And how he set himself about, and he only really cared for himself, Josh, whereas Rob, I think, makes decisions to try and better certain elements of his life, and with the best intention.
Yeah, he's a very best intentions, worst results kind of guy.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
But yeah, like, it's just, I do like seeing you play these complex roles and everything like that, because you're right. You sort of, when the movie kind of starts, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm not really that keen on this guy. Like, as a character, I'm not too sure about him. But you kind of, you grow to realise that, you know what, he's not like you say, he's not a bad guy. He's
not an asshole.
No, he's just down on his luck kind of thing, and to the point where you just kind of feel sorry for the dude.
Yeah, I think like we kind of sometimes, if you're having if you have like a bit of a shit run of things or a shit day, and you're just in a bit of a shit mood.
Yeah,
it doesn't make you a grumpy person. You're just having a bit of it. And I think with Rob, it's like he's kind of been beaten so much down to his knees, and now he's just kind of like, he's turned into this person because he feels it's the only person he can be.
Yeah.
But it's not actually him. It's just the easy option for him to go, I'll be the fucking the down and outer. But yeah, like you say, as the story progresses, perhaps you perhaps see a different side to him that you wouldn't have initially thought.
What I will say is that my wife is a big fan of Robert, because she got to see about 90% more Mike Beckingham's ass.
Yeah. It was all lighting.
All lighting.
My ass doesn't look like that.
I'm not going to harp on that for too long, but how were those scenes for you?
Apologise to your wife.
Oh, she loved it. How were those scenes for you to film?
Really liberating, mate, actually. Yeah, they were... I'd not done any nude scenes before on camera, and it was a very professional set. It was a shut set, which means basically only essential cast and crew should be on set, and the monitors are turned off, so you're not flaunting it everywhere, as it were. But it was really liberating. I kind of really enjoyed it. Yeah, I did, and I felt like it was part of the story. I felt it fitted. It wasn't just thrown in there.
Yeah.
It was kind of it followed the theme of the story. So for me, it worked, and I really enjoyed it. I just I apologise to the crew who had to witness it, but I really enjoyed it. I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
I love that because it kind of started, and I'm like, oh, hello, Mike, hello.
yeah. I've had some screen dumps sent to me, so, which is quite hard to watch. It's like staring at the sun. But
you do a lot of scenes with, and I'm going to have to ask you to pronounce the last name because I'm terrible with last names, but Mariam, is it Hassouni?
Yeah.
Right?
She'll be happy with that.
Okay, she'll be happy with that, thank you. But yeah, you do a lot of scenes with her, and there's some real chemistry going on. Like, did you guys have to like work on that, or did it just come naturally with you guys?
Yeah, thankfully it came naturally, I think, because Mariam, like I say, she's an Emmy Award-winning actress.
Oh, yeah.
She's done so much in Holland. She's been in 2 of the top TV shows. I think she was filming them simultaneously as well. Like, she works so hard. And thankfully it just clicked, yeah. And there was one day on set when we do there's a library scene when we're talking and we're eating and chatting and stuff. And Andy Newbury, the director, kind of worked with us for like 5 hours, and we did that scene multiple times. And by the end of the day, the tone had shifted, and we had worked throughout the whole scene, shifting all the tone and stuff. And it was a really, really great experience working with her. Yeah, she was wonderful, man. She's brilliant.
She's fantastic in the film. She really is.
Really is.
Oh yeah. The cellar. I suppose this kind of bleeds from the whole chemistry of how you guys got on and everything like that. But the cellar's kind of where the movie really sort of changes gears, I'll say.
Yeah.
How was that for you to film? Like the whole on the table, kind of how that all goes? Because it's slightly different to what we've normally seen from you. And to be perfectly honest, it kind of threw me for a curveball. It's supposed to. I think that's what the scene's supposed to do, because you kind of you start realizing what's happening. But I was kind of like, shit. So kind of, how was that scene for you?
It was tough. It was tough in so much as you have to get into a very dark place. And I think I cried for about 10 minutes after the scene,
nice.
which was kind of normal for an actor to do if you're going into a space that I think is particularly dark. But what again was great was that the set was incredible. There was actually like a plastic knife, like plastic blade used, and I was generally handcuffed to the table. So there wasn't many elements that you had to kind of imagine. It was very unnerving. It was very uncomfortable. And yeah, it was very emotional. And it was brought together through, like I say, the whole scene is quite disturbing, but it was emotional to film, yeah, for sure. It was hard, and like I say, I think it affected me for a good 10-15 minutes after.
It's always a question I try and ask with scenes like that, because obviously, as an actor, you're seeing the set there, kind of thing. As a viewer, that's all I can see is that set, and it's kind of like, are you able to pull yourself straight back out of that, or does it take a couple of minutes? Or
I guess it depends on the scene. I guess it depends on the set. I think for me, it was like I say, I sat up on the table for 15 minutes whilst the crew kind of just worked around me and just sat there sobbing, and they were wonderful. They're incredibly respectful and just carried on doing their thing. But then when I stepped off set, obviously you're in this place in London, like a garage in London, I guess, and that kind of helps. You kind of step off the set, and then all of a sudden it's all bright, and you realise that you're not in this dark, and that then you can start to come out of it a bit, I think, and that really helps. So yeah, I think when you step off set, you for me it was okay. I can now start to relate to real world.
That's cool, man. That's cool. It's just a question I always...
It's different for every actor, I guess. I mean, every actor will respond differently, and some will just be able to turn it on, and as soon as a cut, turn it off. It's just not how I am. But
is that sort of the type of actor that you find yourself, or what sort of school do you go down with that? Is it sort of, do you do the method route, or are you just straight up, right, I'm doing the scene, I'm in the scene, I'm out the scene? Do you have to get into that mindset?
Obviously, you sent your schedule before the day's shooting and stuff, in fact, weeks in advance. So I think that's when the preparation starts. I wouldn't say I was method. I just start preparing maybe a day or so beforehand. And then when I get on set, I know what's coming. So I know then how to mentally prepare myself. Some actors do it differently. Some actors will. I know I watched Frost Nixon the other night. And both actors, Michael Sheen and my name's completely gone, but both were completely method in their approach with that. They were both the actual real life characters on set the whole time. So it does work for different actors different ways. But for me, I try and maybe 1 day, 2 days before, start getting prepared, and then after the scene's done, try and come out of it as quickly as possible. Certainly if it's not an easy scene.
Yeah, I can imagine. We mentioned before, Mr. Dougie Poynter, Mr. McFly himself.
Yes.
What was it like working with this guy on set? And obviously he plays your brother, so was that an easy relationship to build, an easy sort of like to play siblings kind of role?
I mean, he's uglier than me, so I'm not quite sure why the casting came from that. But no, I'm joking. he really embraced it. He was wonderful. I think he's come out in an interview and said that he found that more nerve-wracking than playing like Wembley Arena or something, or a big festival. Nice. He was like, he really did. It was a completely different style of artistic performance for him, away from his music. And I think that I've got nothing but credit for anybody who's willing to try that. And we just connected. Yeah, he was, he's just a chilled dude. He's such a chilled dude. Nothing is a problem to him, and that's a really good attitude to have, in so much as when you're on a film set. And I think he did great, man. I think we still, we're still friends now, and that's always lovely, because it's a rarity when you go on set. Sometimes you'll shoot the movie and spend 6-7 weeks or 6 weeks with people and develop these really wonderful friendships, and with the best intentions you want to stay in contact, but it's so hard.
Yeah.
But me and Dougie stayed in contact, and that's, it's lovely, man. He's a really great dude.
And he's picked up another couple of roles I saw off the back of what he's doing. So all the luck to him, and hopefully he keeps going.
McFly's got a new album coming, or they're working on it, I think. So
don't say that to me. I was a huge McFly fan back in the day.
Yeah, mate, they were massive. They are massive. They're coming back, and they'll be huge again, I'm sure.
So was there ever any sort of on-set duets or behind-the-scenes duets where you were busting out McFly songs, or was that just totally uncool?
That would no. There was some karaoke sang one evening in Amsterdam. Dougie didn't get up. He was the avid professional. He didn't want to embarrass us. I think I sang Coldplay "Viva La Vida."
Nice.
Which is one of my go-to songs for karaoke. And he was lovely. He got, he enjoyed it, and I'm sure humoured me. But yeah, we didn't have a sing-off or anything like that. I'm not that stupid.
Oh, you've broken my heart there. You've absolutely broken my heart. And on that, I remember when you came on the chat last time when you were on the set for that, you mentioned to us that it was the first time you'd ever been to Amsterdam. So
it was, mate.
How much did you love that city?
It's great. It's what I love about it is it's what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
If you want to smoke drugs, you can go to a cafe and smoke drugs. If you want sex, it's there with red lights on. It doesn't try and hide what it is, and I love that. And I found it very, very very, very fun.
So you'll be going back sometime?
Maybe, we'll see.
How I don't really want to go too far with the host, because obviously it's out. We want people to watch it. But if you were to try and convince someone, or to try and sell the movie to someone, what would be your sort of go-to line?
I'd really appreciate it if you watched it. That would be it. I mean, we're very lucky with streaming services now, and providing a platform for movies that might not ever get to be seen, but with Amazons and the Netflix and the Disneys and the Apples TVs, it puts us in the shop window. So if you're in a position where you are at home and have nothing to do, then it would be wonderful for you to look it up and give it a watch.
And people are finding it. People are watching it, because I had a cheeky little look on IMDb this morning.
Yeah.
It's got some pretty good reviews on there. The reviews are flooding in.
Yeah, I mean, I did read a review. Actually, I did the cardinal sin of reading a review, and one person said that I was the older-looking, less charismatic Tom Holland.
Wow.
And I loved that. I absolutely loved it. I thought, what a wonderful little line that is.
It's the sort of line you want to put on the poster, isn't it?
yeah. And I was like, do you know what? Like anything like that, if people love it or they hate it, I don't really mind, as long as it gets a reaction. If people say it's rubbish, then that's fine. If people say it's really good, I really enjoyed it, then that's great. If people are just like, you know what, it's okay, then that would hurt. But yeah, it would be great if people could watch it when it's released on April 17th.
Awesome, and we will push it as much as we can, and we'll put it out there and let people know that it's there to be seen, because I have seen it, and I enjoyed it. I think it's a great little flick. I think I said in my little paragraph that I don't think London's ever looked so good. The cinematography on this film is absolutely...
Una Menges, yeah.
It is gorgeous.
She's amazing.
It is absolutely brilliant. Like, I was sitting there, I was like, that's London.
Oh, mate. She's incredible.
So, I do want to quickly... I don't want to take up overly too much of your time, but I do want to quickly talk about a couple other little things, if you don't mind.
Of course.
And that's basically, what else do you have in the pipeline? Or are you getting to the stage of your career where you can't tell me these things?
No, not yet. That's hopefully coming soon. I've got Truth Seekers due out this year, which is the Simon Pegg and Nick Frost new TV show, which is coming on Amazon.
Very nice.
I played Bjorn in that, which was probably the best experience I have of my career thus far, and I've had some amazing experiences, so that does say a lot. But working with my brother was beyond, and Nick was beyond incredible.
Did you get looked after?
Did
you get looked after?
Oh my God, mate! It was amazing. There was before you do a scene, you do a crew run through for the crew to get an idea of where they want to put the cameras and stuff. And I looked up from my desk and I'd never seen this many crew. It was just full to the brim with this incredible crew. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is quite a big deal. And then I looked over to Si, and Si just gave me a smile and I think a wink. And I knew then I was going to be all right. And he looked after me just like a big brother would. He was incredible. And I had so much fun, working on that, and I can't wait for people to see it. If you're a Peg and Nick Frost fan, then you will not be disappointed. It is wonderful.
Excellent.
And then we were due, in fact, you know what, I was due to go to Fiji this month to start filming Waltzing with Brando, which is a movie I'm doing with Billy Zane, the wonderful Billy Zane, who I have so much to thank for. It's a movie called Waltzing with Brando, written by Bill Fishman and directed by Bill Fishman. And it's a real-life story about my character, Bernard Judge, who's an LA architect who built a spherical dome out in LA and became quite well-known because of it. And through all sort of different means, Marlon Brando becomes in contact with Bernard, and Bernard flies out to Fiji. And it's based on a true life story of when these two worlds collide to make the first self-sustaining hotel, which was kind of late 60s and early 70s, which was kind of before the big green movement. And so it's quite pioneering. And it's this lovely story of my character, Bernard, who's very analytical and scientific and an architect, working with Brando, who I can't think of anyone better than Billy Zane to play him. And these two worlds come to collide, and yeah, it's just brilliant. It's such a lovely film, and that's now been pushed back to August. So we're hoping to fly out to Fiji in August then, which will be really hard to go to Fiji to film. But that might be pushed to next year. I don't know. And then we've got myself and Tom Payton have collaborated for the third time on G-Lock. Yeah. Which is due out, and it was due out end of this year, I think. But again, with everything that's going on, I don't know when that'll be.
That's G-Lock. I got to come down to the set and see you there, and
yes,
I was speaking to Tom the other night, and I was basically saying to him how, because I mean, come on, you mentioned it earlier. Well, I think we might have. I can't remember, but anyway, so Casper Van Dien's there. Which, you're talking about, you're going to be working with Billy Zane, which is a legend, which is awesome. Like, but come on, you worked with Casper Van Dien, for Christ's sake.
I know, mate. It was surreal, and hats off to Tom and the studio for getting those sort of names in, because they were great. Casper was brilliant. I'm a big Starship Troopers fan,
big time,
as I know you are.
Oh yes, I mean, as I said to Tom, I says I came down that day, and obviously it's a bigger production for Tom as well, so I'm kind of like, this is all a little bit new to me. They're giving me like a lanyard and all this, and they're telling me where I can and can't go, and I'm like, I'm not used to this. Tom's normally like, yeah, just go and do what you want. So I'm kind of like, this is a bit strange. And then obviously they tell me that Casper's there, and straight away my geek mind is absolutely exploding. And I said to Tom the other day, the only thing, or the main thing that calmed me down that day and got me to a place of I can actually do this, was when you walked in and I saw somebody I recognised, and I was like, Mike's here.
Great, man. That's awesome. Yeah, no, it was again, it was an absolute honour to work with those actors.
Amazing.
Very, very established. I know it was a very surreal moment that I went to breakfast with John Rhys Davies, which was surreal, you know.
It's funny because it's a big geek moment for me to meet these guys, but you're working with these guys and you're on their level and you're mixing it up with these guys. It's amazing to see how far your career has come since the short time we've been speaking to you.
Yeah, I was very lucky, and it's to do with the collaborations, you know, and people believing in you, and if people didn't believe you like Tom believed in me and believes in me, then it wouldn't happen. And you know, it was you're right, it was very surreal. There were moments of pinching myself. Being a big Lord of the Rings fan, sitting opposite John having breakfast and him just chatting to me as if we'd known each other for ages, and I was kind of like, is this really happening? But I'll roll with it. So yeah, it was an amazing experience, that.
And I think you're going to find that more as well, because I mean, Billy Zane, that's an amazing one as well. And you're right, by the way, because when I saw that Billy Zane was going to be playing Brando, you're absolutely right.
Mate.
The first thing I thought was, yeah, that's perfect casting.
but away from the camera, you know, he's been so supportive of me. You know,
awesome.
When we first sat down at the beginning of last year, he was the one that was pushing for me. He was saying, look, I want, you know, and for an actor of his caliber to do that, for an actor who's up and coming, you know, you sometimes you need that. And him and Bill have been so supportive. And you know, over the course of the year, he would text message me going, hey, dear boy, I'm still thinking of you. And then in Billy's way, and he was just all for the whole year whilst we were getting green lit. He was always pushing for me. And then in November last year, I got the call from Bill, actually, the director, and said, look, we've been green lit and we want you as the lead. And it was all down to them and their belief. And it was, I can't really put it into words, mate, to be fair. Billy is an incredible person.
And it's only going to be onwards from there as well.
Let's hope so, buddy. That's the plan.
Man. I can see it. It's we kind of spoke a little bit when we were on G-Lock, and I don't know if it was sort of because obviously the host was filmed and then it's taken a little while to come out, which is sort of like, I think you're kind of used to Tom Payton's way of working, which is, right, we've made the movie, it'll be out in a couple of weeks.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Let's move on to the next one. Let's, 6 films in the last 2 years or something. It's mental.
He's a machine.
But
incredible, man.
It kind of like, I got the sense of like you were chomping at the bit for the next project to come along, and I'm so glad it has, and it's great to see that you've now not got just one movie in the works, but you've got 2 or 3, and it's great to see, and hopefully it just keeps going from strength to strength. I can see it.
I hope so, mate. I mean, that's the plan. And, I think for me, the next thing is just, if, with Waltzing with Brando and being on set with Billy and working alongside Billy, I'll learn so much that hopefully I'll be able to push on from there and use that to further my career, But he's, I know he will. He's going to teach me so much. And, I can't wait.
Just make sure you soak it all in.
In the Fijian sun. I'll try. It's going to be tough, but I'll try.
So I'm gonna pretty much round it out there. Just again, let people know where they can find the host when it's available, and how they can get to it.
Yeah, so it'll be on Amazon Prime and Apple TV, I believe, from April 17th. So if you've got any of the streaming services, then go and check it out. And we'd love to hear what you think.
And I hope they do. And I'm gonna, once it all goes live and everything, I'll make sure we post everything up and we get as much interest as we possibly can, and
awesome.
Thank people watching. Much. As always, it's just amazing that you even answer the call and have a bit chat with me.
Always, mate. Always. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, you say that now, you'll be like, nah, I'm not speaking to him.
No, I wouldn't be like that.
No, I know you wouldn't. I'll
give you a AAA lanyard.
But honestly, again, Mike, thank you for taking the call. Thank you for coming on, and I hope everybody checks out the host, and we will pimp it as much as humanly possible. And of course, when G-Lock comes along, we'll be pimping that, because I came down to see it and it looked awesome, and it's a very different role for you. So,
oh my goodness, yeah.
I'm interested.
We'll talk more about that, hopefully.
Definitely.
Thank you as always, buddy. Thanks for everything. Stay safe.
Crisis for the geek kind. Top geek officials admit they underestimated the hipsters' defense capability. Join the geek revolution and save the galaxy. geeks from all over the globe are joining up to fight for the future. They're doing their part. Are you? Want to know more? Join Weeby Geeks and the Geek Revolution and save the world. Service guarantees citizenship. Listen to Weeby Geeks podcast on iTunes and Stitcher or online at weebygeeks.net. Weeby Geeks, your voice for the Geek Revolution. Want to know more?
So yeah, that was Mike. Mike will... He's on his way. He's on his way. Please do check out the host. Please do go on the streaming sites when you can see it. We're pretty much in a situation right now where we can't get to the cinema. We can't do anything like that. So do what we can with the streaming. A lot of companies just seem to be throwing them straight up on those streaming sites. That's awesome. It means we can still get our content and we can still watch what we want to watch. Please do check this one out. It's one of those movies that I do believe it's going to find an audience on these platforms. It's going to do well, and people are going to find it. And Mike, off the back of this, I think he's going to pick up a few more roles. He's already got a few more roles incoming. So to me, the kid is he's a strong leading male. Strong leading male. We have a few of them in Britain. I just want to see him on the big screen sooner rather than later. He deserves it, and he does have, we allude to a couple of connections that Mike does have throughout the chat, the interview, the little interview, no, just call it a chat, and he's not leaning on that, he's not at all, he doesn't need to, because the guy's got a lot of talent, and he's just trying to push his career as far as he can off his own steam, and you have to respect that. So yeah, again, it was awesome speaking to him, so I'm just going to wrap this up now, and I am just going to head off. But please do check out The Host, 17th of April. You'll be able to get all these things. It's on the Facebook, it's on the Twitter. Check it out. Just go and see, and give the movie a watch, and let them know your thought. And if we were the ones that sent you there, tell them that we sent you, because that would be pretty awesome as well. Thank you very much. See you next time.